I love gambling, so I made my Touhou experience into a wheel of fortune. Every spin of this wheel will decide my next Touhou adventure. Are you ready? Let's spin the wheel of fantasy. Hello there! Do you like the wheel? I gave it a little makeover. Anyway, we're gonna spin the wheel again after a long time. I am gonna bet it's going to be Pirates of Gensokyo. Pirates of Gensokyo. Go! It's mesmerizing. What? Shooting star. Alright, what do we have? Presumably it's translated. I would hope. Well, you better hope. Putting that aside, we have stumbled upon something quite interesting. A 3D Danmaku game. I was immediately a bit wary of this concept, as the only time I tried anything akin to a 3D Danmaku game was in some random VR chat Touhou map. Oh, hello Oku. Oh fuck! And while it was visually impressive, the gameplay left a lot to be desired. But hey, this is a real game and not some VR chat map, so let's not judge it too harshly based on my previous experiences from a different game. Language... Beaten. Oh god. Okay, well... It's probably still better than Japanese for now. My god. Can my PC run this game? What's happened? Anyway, go to the Fallen Star. That's a very straightforward introduction. Quite an interesting looking free game for sure. Here we see me fiddling with the controls for a while, because honestly, this game clearly was made for a controller and not a keyboard. Unfortunately, my controller is terrible, so I still opted to use the keyboard. We are reversing. I say reversing. Oh my Christ, this looks really weird. I don't feel like I'm playing a Touhou game right now. If that fairy moved out of the way, you would see the game controls here. The main problem was that you couldn't really rebind any of the keys, and some of the keys were really difficult to press at the same time. For example, boosting and going backwards on the keyboard was pretty difficult. There was also this slightly questionable decision from the developers to make pressing spacebar go forwards and W to go upwards. You can actually swap these around in the settings, but canonically I don't know if Sunny Milk can read, and I sure as hell couldn't while I was reading that list. I didn't notice this until someone in the stream chat pointed it out for me. Now let's take a little look at the gameplay. Alright. Oh, what did I do? We are now in far away mode. I don't think I'm moving forwards, I'm just staying still. I think this might be easier with a controller if I had one. Okay, 5. Go. Oh my god. Master sparks everywhere. Holy moly. Oh god. Okay, we are going higher and higher because I keep instinctively pressing W to go forward. Okay, shoot. Alright. Holy moly, what a game. So that was the first stage. Pretty easy. We got an S rank from the first stage. That's short for Sunny Milk, which is the best rank. Anyway, let's take a look at the first boss now, who's pretty much unsurprisingly Rumia. Just kidding! Before Rumia we need to take a look at another completely different problem of the game. Always fairy than that I'm actively... Yes? You are attracted to the meteor that has been... Did you mean fall? Oh god, the translation, no. If that's the case, should reach the meteor of blaze if I am defeating the fairy. Very well then. Let's go. The beta English translation is so hilariously bad, I don't even know how they managed to do it. It doesn't quite feel like machine translation, because there is a lot of very human mistakes and typos in the text. It feels more like someone took a dictionary, took the first translation of the word, and compiled the translation out of them. I'll make a compilation of the silliest mistranslations later on, but for now, let's get on to Rumia. Right, where do we have We have... I'll activate everything. Wait, oh. Boost for this control scene. I am absolutely blasting. That did not hit me. Oh my god! Okay, I need to really try to go up and down more. Spell failed. Oh yeah, you can't get hit or the spell fails. But the Rumia is bonked anyway. And there we have the first boss fight. I'll give a better breakdown of what I liked and what I didn't like about the fights in this game later on. But for now, there is still some important things we need to discuss before that. You see, the game actually has more than just flying around. We got the village now. Ooh. Yeah, I'll go to the bar. Cheers, bro. I'll have a beer for that. Oh my god, we got walking around! Right, where's the beer? That's a chair. That's a barrel of beer. Maybe it's okay. Alright, let's yap. Oh no! It's not translated. Konnichiwa! So it turns out that only the main questline is translated. All the side stuff is just in Japanese. I didn't really bother trying to translate much of the side quests, especially after proving my great translation abilities in the last episode. So I went on to explore the rest of the village. Rumia, this is no place for yokai, you know we're in the fucking human village right now. Get out of here. This is bad. What are you doing in this place? What are you doing in this place? What the fuck? Ignoring the fact that Gensokyo's power structure has apparently completely collapsed and the yokai are rampant in the village, this place has quite a few interesting facilities. First of all, most of the quests, both side and main quests, are started from here by talking to NPCs. And secondly, there are shops that sell upgrades for your character. And finally, and obviously most importantly, there is this cool shop that you can change your clothes in. And that's the village in a nutshell. Next we are going to take a little peek at the story, but I don't want to spoil too much, because this game doesn't actually use the typical Rumia first boss, Remelia final boss timeline. Here we have the map of the game. Overall it's pretty simple. After accepting quests from the people in the village, you pretty much just follow the blue exclamation marks on the map to find what you need to do next. We had a few possible options here, but we decided to go for the Cherno. Ooh, the body cools. So after some standard fairy extermination, we did indeed manage to reach the Baka. The village to save. Hey Churro, meteor does not have fallen to around here. Ah, black and white witch. Who's black and white? Who's black and white? In what about that? Marisa, you are very... Oh, I'm so sorry, Chino. I wanted to have a chat, but... Okay, chill. Chill. Oh my Christ. She is shooting. CP shooting. Maybe I need to... Oh god. Where are the bullets turning? Icicle fall isn't what I remembered it. Ow. Oh my Christ. That's torchable. Oh gosh, she looks shocked about that one. Stop! I can't see anything, Cherno. It's so bright. And that's what the full boss fight looks like. As expected from Cherno, I survived with only 1 health left. Now, let's talk a little about the story without too much spoilers. To put it simply, Marisa is going around collecting pieces of a meteorite that has landed in Gensokyo, fighting people on the way for no reason, just like a good Touhou character would. Or well, that's what I gathered from the incredible translation we had. Eventually we find out what happened and conclude the main story. After the main story, there is actually a ton of side quests you can do. None of them are translated though, so I couldn't really tell what's going on in them. I'll yap about the after story fights a little bit more in detail when discussing the spell cards later on. Now let's talk a little bit about what happens after the main story. Basically, you fight the same enemies as in the main story, along with the few new ones that we hadn't seen before. Except this time around, they are on hard mode. The hard mode enemies deal more damage, have more health, but most importantly have tons of new spell cards prolonging the fights by quite a bit. For these reasons, properly upgrading your characters and finding the kind of spells you like to use becomes necessary. Personally, I settled quite quickly on these kunai knives that you shoot quickly but deal reasonably low damage. In the beginning of the game, I felt like the best way to dodge the Danmaku was to aimlessly try to dash away from the bullets. At a certain Sakuya fight, however, I realized that the true and tested Danmaku strategy of move slowly to the left or right, or in this 3D scenario, move slowly diagonally, was the solution to tons of spells I was struggling with. I think it took a long time for me to realize this because of the light effects and bloom lots of the Danmaku uses. Another thing that helped me in dodging the spells was that most of them were actually based on the original spells from the official games. With these realizations and learning the slightly challenging controls, the game started turning from an unreadable mess of light effects into a truly fun and playable game. Now, before we move on to the rating of the game, I'd like to show you a few more things. There is actually another walkable area in the game, and it sells very high level items. Wait, Mountain Village? Is this a new hub? Oh. I didn't really care about the items though, but instead decided to compulsively explore every little nook and cranny of the area. I can't really help myself with things like this. If a game has a place where you clearly aren't supposed to go to, that's the place I'll spend the most time exploring. And as expected, there's nothing here. Or is there? Did I just not explore well enough? This is something I'll probably never find out. However, I did find something quite weird during my travels. This was very late into the game when I was compulsively exploring the human village. The village is full of completely empty buildings, but in this one building on a street that has nothing else interesting, if you go upstairs into this room, the music starts playing. Why does it do this? I couldn't possibly solve this mystery, but...
Can you?
Another thing I wanted to mention was how freaking cool the Oku fight was. I honestly don't need to yap about it, I'll just show you some clips and you can see for yourself. Oh my Christ, this is like the coolest fight in the game so far, at least arena-wise. This is epic. I like it. I will simply... Whoa. Game. Holy moly. Oh god! Yep, that's so cool for you. Okay, this is a cool fight, not gonna lie. Holy shit. Look at this. What am I supposed to do this now? It just blasts. Yeah. Maybe I just need to stay further away. Best fight in the game so far, definitely. Even judging by these first few spells, this is insane. Ogu was intense as ever, but there is one even more intense challenge in the game. This is basically the final challenge of the game. It's a gauntlet of every boss on the hardest difficulty, back to back. Insta-jammer. The length of this challenge for me was about 40 minutes. And yes, if you fail, you have to start from the very beginning once again. Definitely a great challenge to end the game. And finally, let me play a little compilation of the silly translation mistake. What is it this time, Reimu? That's what I thought. Now let's get back to the silly translations. Here are some prime examples of why I think the translation is made by a human using a dictionary and not by some auto-translator. Seriously, how did some of these translations even come to be? I could dwell up. I wanted to try to use in the experiment hope to have softening of the force. It was a stone of only a just a beautiful. Alice, are you having a stroke? Nee, Mars. Like how does that translation happen? You're sweets. Ei mu, Nante seisat se thing. It's eerie. Ei mu Nante seisat se thing. Patasiva viabudes. I almost reached to Hakurai's shrine, but there are so many hairballs. Mukari! Mukari, not the Mukari. Why does it say lard? Lard platoon. What the fuck is lard platoon of the doll? Did you come to troll my flower garden? No, Yuka. We'll try to fix the barrier and that's it. Rager! I think that's gonna be Roger, but Rager is not that. And there we have it. Marisa Flight Simulator has been completed. Completing this game took me about 10 hours. And those 10 hours were full on gameplay, with barely any arbitrary material grinding or other boring stuff. The game is free, but it did feel like it could have been a paid one in the 5 to 10 euro price range. The story was simple but enjoyable, the music was great, and the gameplay, which I originally had my doubts about, turned out to be surprisingly smooth and satisfying. The two things dragging the game down were the translation and the lack of customizability for the controls. Both easily fixable though, if the dev so wishes. So, how shall we rate this game on the scale of the strongest? I would rate it Mukari out of 9. And seriously, that's a high rating for a free game. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you all again when it's time for another spin of the Wheel of Fantasy.